Hey guys, it's Luca from FoilMagicCards.com, and today I want to talk about the most important thing that you need to think about when you buy raw old border foils. So I want to first of all make the distinction here. You can either buy raw or you can buy graded old border foils. So the graded would be if it was like a BGS or a CGC or a PSA. It's in the slab. The grader has authenticated it. Basically, it's very precise condition. So raw is like when you buy something on TCG or eBay, it's not graded. You don't really know what you're going to get. You're usually picking between like near mint, light play, moderate play. Those are usually like the gradations that people use. So the most important thing when you're buying raw cards is to buy from a reputable seller. So one of the things that we do here is we write down the grades of all the things we buy, and as you can see, a lot of this stuff is not actually near mint. A lot. It's real, and I don't really blame the sellers so much. And I hid the sellers' names because I don't want to badmouth any sellers on TCG Player. But as you can see, like some of these things, they don't come the way you expected, and there is really a big difference between different sellers. There's certain sellers that I can very consistently say when I buy a near mint foil, it's going to be near mint or maybe even better than near mint, like a near mint plus, kind of like on that gradable range in that, right? So sometimes we write down gradable in that kind of like pack fresh type range. Something you may want to grade, something that's like nearly flawless. Uh, a lot of times, what you're dealing with these old border foils is like tons of surface issues. Just the nature of these cards, it's really hard to have a good surface on these old cards. So, again, the most important thing is you want to be buying from a reputable seller. One of the things that I do, and some people may not be able to do this and may not have the budget to do this, I like to basically, put out feelers, try a card from a few different sellers, and then get a feel for, okay, this is a seller I'm not going to go back to. And this is a seller I'm going to keep coming back to, and just kind of move forward that way. But in general, you really, really, it makes a huge difference because so if you're just a collector, I've talked to lots of collectors. Some collectors just they really want it to be that pristine condition. It means a lot to them to have a really high condition card. Other people, maybe you're like me, you're kind of those evil investors. The difference between something that's LP and gradable is gigantic, right? Like if you were gonna grade an LP card, you're gonna get like a 7 or like a 7.5 or a 6 or something. And if you grade something that's super nice, you could even get up to a 9.5. You're probably not going to get a 9.5, so don't dream too much. But even if you get like a 9 or an 8.5, like I think in the future you're gonna be able to basically command a premium on that card. It's gonna be worth more than your average near mint foil. So there's a huge difference. Like for like if you had a 9.5 of one of these cards, it could definitely be worth triple of a normal. And if you had LP, it could be worth like 70%, right? So what's the difference between triple something and 70% of something? It's a whole lot. If we do the math quickly, it's like a 6 times difference. So really, really be aware of these things when you buy these foils. Try to find sellers that you trust and that work well, and keep going back to those sellers. It'll save you a lot of time and headache. Yes, you can always return cards in TCG Player. The buyer has tons of protections on TCG Player. So if you buy something and it's not to your liking, you can always return it. But it's still a huge headache, and it's really not worth your time, in my opinion, to go to sellers that aren't consistent. So that's kind of the whole idea of this video, just to show like how many of these cards you expect to be near mint. Sometimes you get, LP is not the end of the world, but sometimes you get, much more questionable stuff in here, damaged, inked. So it's what I would do. For example, I'll give an example. I'll shout out this seller. Recently, I've been buying from this guy. His eBay name is Suggest15, and I found that his cards are in extremely nice quality. So as soon as I bought a couple cards, got the impression of the quality, I just kept going back to him. And I suggest that's how you guys should move forward when you're collecting these old border foils. So I hope this video was helpful, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.